Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. This is the second part of our grand final fortnight. So, in this particular episode, we are headed across to Western Australia to review the Western Australian Tournament Series Kayak Grand Final for 2024. This was held on the Swan River on the 2nd and 3rd of November. It's a great little episode. I'm going to roll the intros and we're going to get straight into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Brim Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target brim on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite brim competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right, so I hope you're enjoying a couple of extra episodes. What we've got coming up after this is we've got the Western Australian Tournament Anglers Boat Grand Final, we've got the Hobie Grand Final, and we've also got the Vic Brim Grand Final, and that will wrap up all in next week. So we'll probably run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if all goes to plan. If it doesn't, well, you'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, let's get into this one. So with this one, we're on the Swan River. So the details for the day is we had in the fish activity wheel, we had 92 with a major bite period of 11:15 through to 1:45 on the Saturday. Low tide, this is these funky tides that always confuse me. Low tide was at 6:02 at 0.3 and then following up to high tide at 10:03 p.m. at 0.95. On the Sunday, we had 81 in the fish activity wheel with a major bite period of 12:02 through to 2:32. Low tide was at 6:58 at 0.29 and high tide was at 10:23 p.m. at 0.94. All right, so there you have it. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so now I'm excited to talk about a brand new spot for all you fishing enthusiasts. Zeus Tackle, located at 18/1 to 15 Murray Street, Camden. This place isn't just another tackle shop, it's your go-to hub for everything fishing. At Zeus Tackle, they're passionate about making sure you have the best experience out on the water, no matter what type of fishing you're into, whether it's freshwater bass or saltwater giants. They've got the gear and the expertise to help you succeed. And it's not just about selling tackle. Zeus Tackle is all about advice and support. Whether you're just starting out or the seasoned angler, they're there to guide you with premium tips and tricks to enhance anyone's fishing game. Keep an eye out on social media. Their grand opening for Zeus Tackle will be announced soon and you won't want to miss it. You can follow them on Facebook at Zeus Tackle and on Instagram at zeustackle.com.au for all updates and maybe even a few special surprises. So remember, cast with confidence with Zeus Tackle because they're here to make sure every cast counts. Check them out at 18/1 to 15 Murray Street, Camden, and get ready for your best fishing trips yet. All right, so first up in third place, we have an angler that is now quite a regular on the Brim Fishing Project. He dropped 3 fish on the Saturday for 1.75, backed it up with a cracking bag on the Sunday of 2.39 kilos for his 3 fish, giving him a total of 4.14 kilos for his 6 fish. I have Travis Newland. Welcome back, mate.
Andrew, good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Mate, third in a kayak grand final, you'd be happy about that.
Always happy with the podium, especially on the local.
Definitely. And I'm super keen to get into your story because obviously you worked something out on the Sunday or something happened. And you got a much better bag.
Yeah, it ended up working out for me. Pretty much replicated, and I think just for conditions and slowing things down just worked out a bit better and ended up picking up a better fish.
Okay, very good. All right, well, let's start with pre-fish. So you didn't exactly pre-fish, but tell us what you sort of counted as your pre-fish.
No, so we had round 3 of our local boat series down there as well on the Swan River. So that was only a day one-day comp. Josh, the fellow I fished with, we didn't do too well. We finished about mid-place, but we found that a lot of the top bags that were weighed in that comp were caught in similar areas that we were fishing. So I think there was quite a few boats on the water as well. So we just put it down to we were in the right ground. We just didn't get the opportunities, just simply because of the pressure and people lined up along their spots. So I pretty much just worked off that and just replicated that pretty much.
Okay. And what sort of lures did you have tied on going into the first day?
So starting on, I just pretty much tied a bait junkie grub on a 1.8 gram, around 25. I had my old favourite Bruce on a 112. I've always got to tie one of those on. And a slim swim. And I think I had a crankbait, a local Scout 45 by Razor Edge Lures.
Nice. Okay. All right. Let's roll into Saturday and tell us how you went about catching your fish.
So Saturday pretty much kicked off. We had slightly overcast conditions with like pretty light showers and pretty much went downriver through Garrett Road Bridge. Just for the amount of anglers, I kind of just had the plan of just starting fishing early and working out where they were. And I kind of just slowly fished my way down. I think I caught a pretty 24, 25 tipper like within the first couple of casts. So I thought we might be on here, but it quickly slowed down after that. So I just kept peppering spots as I went down. And I actually think it would hit about 10:30, 11, and I only had 2 26 tippers in my bag. So I was a bit worried at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the legal limit over there?
It's 26.
26?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I kind of just kept pushing down, and it was lucky enough that one of my last spots just behind Belmont Racecourse, which is one of the last spots I had on my list of areas to fish, and pushing on 11 o'clock, you've only really got a solid couple of hours to fish until you've got to start pedaling back upriver.
Right.
And that's where I bumped into a few of the other anglers and pretty much just started getting a bit more interest. And at that point, I was just throwing the bait junkie grub, just hopping it on the bottom. And I pretty much managed to fill my bag at that point.
Okay. So throughout the day, you'd had the first couple of fish. What'd they come on?
They'd come on the grub as well. So the first few fish, I pretty much distinguished that it was like a grub bite.
Yep.
They were pretty much smashing it on the drop quite aggressively too. So I was pretty confident that anywhere I was fishing, that they'll quite confidently eat that lure.
Yeah.
The more I pushed downriver, I found the more bites I was getting. So I ended up finding that patch where a few more anglers were sitting, and just kept peppering that for a while and ended up picking a few good ones off.
Right. And what sort of structure, like what sort of water depth and what have you, were you sitting in?
So to start off with, I was zigzagging through a lot of mixed stuff to try and find where I was sitting, but where I ended up getting me kicker fish was probably only 300-400 mil deep.
Wow.
So it was all flats, pretty much like broken rubble flats, pretty much. There's a section of the river, it does quite a wide bend, like a U bend, and the flat there actually comes out for probably a good 50 to 100 metres.
Yep.
I think what was happening was the fish were just sitting on that deeper side and just pushing up, depending on the tide or the wind, when the wind would come in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I would have thought, and I would have probably thrown a hard body, like a small suspending hard body or something into that sort of situation. You guys throw a lot of grubs in that sort of situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just at this time of year, I've got a bit more confidence with the grub. I mean, I'm not really a hard body man. I did tie on a crankbait to start off with, but I suppose I just don't have the confidence. I know Steve-O, who was next to me that same time, was throwing a crankbait and he was getting fish on him. I think it just comes down to a bit of a confidence thing.
Sure. Okay. In terms of finishing out your day, that's kind of where that finished up?
Yeah. So on that stretch, I ended up picking up a 40 tipper, and Steve-O was right next to me as well, and we were kind of right in the peak of that good bite time. So we both kind of cleaned up in that same area in the same time.
Yeah.
And then pretty much from that point, I had an hour. It's pretty much an hour paddle back, so just start cruising back.
Yeah. Because Steve, he picked up a good bag. Got over 2 kilos. So
he was pretty stoked with himself after that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I would have been too. All right. So leading into day 2, mate, what was your plan then? Did you change plans around or shoot straight back up there?
It's always a pretty tough one. I think because I found them quite late in the day, I knew that my option was to either try and replicate and just try and, knowing that it was a pretty consistent grub bite, knowing that I should just can stick with the grub and fish down like I did day 1, or just beeline straight for that spot where I got that kicker fish and just hammer that all day.
Yeah.
And it was actually quite interesting on day 2 because of Maddie's bag being Maddie's bag being caught off the bridge. A lot of anglers actually didn't come downriver.
Okay.
Day 2, I actually stopped off at a couple of spots on the way down and managed to pick up some fish. And surprisingly, yeah, not as many anglers come down. So even when I got down to that good spot a bit further down where I got that kick out on day one, there wasn't too many anglers down there by that point.
Yeah, nice.
So I think that kind of worked out well. Knowing what they were biting on day one, I pretty much consistently used that day two originally to start off with, and that kind of got me my bag earlier on day two.
Okay. And the first couple of fish, same deal, on the grubs in shallow water?
Yeah, so there's like a creek that comes out there through Maylands. There's a red channel marker off the mouth of that creek with a whole lot of broken structure.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a school of fish sitting off that for quite some time, so I was just peppering that. They weren't big fish, but I essentially just wanted to fill my bag and just go work from that.
Yeah, fair enough. And with your grubs and your plastics and that, are you running a scent on those at the moment?
No scent.
No scent. Okay.
I'm not a scent man, to be honest. I've never really I don't know if that'll change when I'm chasing yellows, but yeah, I tend to I don't really use scent.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's days for it and days for it where it doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
I've kind of think I put it in that basket of I'm going to put it on because if it makes a difference, I'm going to catch a better fish, and that's...
Yeah. Well, if you've got the patience to use it and put it on, then yeah, go for it. I thought, yeah, if you're confident in it, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, so where'd you move on to from there? So you got a couple, you got your bag full?
Got a couple pretty much off that red marker. So that's kind of, it's not a flat, it's a bit more of a drop off. So yeah, picked up a couple of fish off that and then just worked my way down through the golf course. Didn't catch many fish at all and ended up at that same spot near the Belmont racecourse.
Yep.
And yeah, pretty much same thing, just started noticing a bit more of a more aggressive bite, and I think I picked up like a 33 and some 29 tippers.
Yeah, okay.
And knowing that I got my kicker fish there day one, I pretty much sat on that spot for the rest of the day and waited for that bite period to come on.
Okay. All right, and how'd that play out?
Well, I had 2-day comps go. Generally, he doesn't fish as well. So I did notice there definitely wasn't as many fish around as what I'd liked. And obviously there's a few more anglers there as well, just sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. Day two, due to the amount of anglers, I actually started peeling off and heading slowly towards upriver, just slightly around the bend. And I come across another angler who was fishing the deeper side of the river and I was fishing the flat side. And I actually remember casting in with my Bruce. At that point, I was using the Bruce, which is a smaller profile bait. It's like a little yabby. And like really, really subtle bites. But this is like an area that I know is renowned for big brim and really subtle bites. And yeah, I had this really subtle bite and I set the hook into it. And this thing took off into the deep. I knew it was a big fish. And Maddie was actually there watching me as well land that. So that was quite a surprise.
Yeah, very nice.
Silly of me, though, actually after landing that, I kind of persisted through that stretch and left that side of the river and went on to the other side of the river.
Right.
And, when you go on to get those gut feelings where, time's ticking, and I had about an hour and a half left at that point. So I only really had a half hour of fishing time left. I actually went back from the other side, went back to where I got that big fish, and I actually upgraded twice again in that same area in a matter of about 10 minutes to a 36 and a 34.
Wow.
So, a matter of half an hour, I went from having like a bag of 29 tippers to getting, I think it was like a 42 tip, a 36 and a 34. And I was pretty stoked with that.
Yeah, that's a great bag. Where did you end up in turn? Like, who got big brim for the comp?
Rob got big brim on day one, Rob White. That went, anyway, I think it was 870 or something, 880 or something, 870. And I missed out by 10 grams on day one.
Ouch.
And then Alex got big brim day two, 980 or something, and I missed out by 10 grams again on day two.
Oh, no. Come on, mate. Haven't you got any sinkers?
No. It's a bummer, but yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is, mate. It's still good to get kickers. They definitely boost everything. So
yeah, I think just because of the pressure, I think that bait change up between the grub and the Bruce. Like, I'm pretty confident in using the Bruce, especially for big fish. I think just because of the profile size, especially when it's a bit of like a pressured bite, they just tend to smooch around on the bottom, and like because of the Bruce of how small it is, they just suck it up. Like, they don't.
Yeah,
it's quite easy for them just to munch it down.
Yeah,
I think that in the end is what kind of secured me that that big fish.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. And then you had the long pedal back.
Yeah. I mean, luckily enough, we had a bit of the wind as well, so I opened the PA hatch and glide with the wind a bit, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So at the end of the day, you ended up in third place, and I guess there's a couple of 100 grams between you and Alex, and then 400 grams up to Matt. How'd you go in the weigh-in? Did you weigh in early or late, or?
I weighed in about mid, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Mid. Yeah, to come from 8 after day 1 and then come into third, I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, cracking bag on day 2.
Especially getting a bigger bag day 2, yeah, that makes a big difference.
Yeah. And from what I can understand, look, most of your fish came on the bait junkie grub on a, what do you say?
So 1.8 grams, so it's like a 1/16th or something, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. So basically a pretty light jig head.
Yeah, just fishing on the drop.
Okay. And then one on the Bruce, big one on the Bruce.
Yeah, so the Bruce I was actually using for the first time ever, which is a bit silly in a comp, was using the Gamakatsu. I think they're the round 211s. I think they're the shorter, really short.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. So I was using that was actually on a 1/8, so that was actually quite heavy.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
Just dragged along the bottom.
Yeah. Okay. And then leaders for the day, for the 2 comp days. What sort of leaders?
Leaders, so yeah, it's usually on the Swan. I only just run 4 pound. Where I'm fishing, it's all you get the broken rubble, but generally speaking, you're pretty safe there running full.
Yeah, fair enough.
I use the Daiwa J thread, and I find that pretty good for a 4 pound line.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. In terms of the fishing, is there anything else that we should add before we move off?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, I think just during the boat comp, we noticed that specific bank, the bank where we were fishing, there was just full of life. In the boat comp, we fished there and there was mullet everywhere, prawns jumping. We didn't get any fish, big brim there in the boat comp, but there was definitely full of life. So I think that kind of, I don't know, whatever happened in between the few weeks that the boat comp and the kayak comp, but obviously the brim knew that as well. That's where most of the people got their big brim this weekend.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, very cool. All right, mate, for a third place, what did you get to take home?
So I walked away with $350 cash, which is always handy. A $100 voucher to our local Getaway Outdoors in Kelmscott, Michelle.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of goodies, pretty much. Hobie glasses, soft hards.
Yeah, nice. And you can bring your $350 across to New South Wales and spend it over here?
Yes, and actually, sorry, I forgot something. I also got a Shimano rod tube, which will come in handy.
Very good.
For the flight.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, given all that, mate, one last thing. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to? Just
a huge thanks to the Wata boys. I don't think they get enough thanks. I mean, we're a pretty small bunch over here, but they do a pretty good event considering otherwise. Michelle from Getaways, she put on pizzas both days after. So, you come home, you come back from fishing all day for 8 hours, you're starving. She had pizzas there ready to go, cold drinks. So all that sort of stuff's appreciated. So, yeah, just the boys and our sponsors pretty much. Very good, mate. Well, you can't get better than that. No. All right, mate, brilliant. Congratulations on your third place. Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you in a couple of days. Cheers, Andrew. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Okay, if you're in the market for a new fishing kayak or looking to make some upgrades to your existing kayaks or possibly looking at fishing kayak fishing tournaments, then HWS is the place to go. They have a full range of Hobie kayaks, stock the latest kayak accessories, and are really dialed in when it comes to the best kayak fishing setup for the casual fisher and the tournament angler. hws.com.au, online or in-store at Shop 3/638 Pacific Highway, Belmont. James offers free delivery on all Hobie kayaks across all Greater Sydney, Central Coast and Hunter. So there's a lot of stuff going on there at the moment. Like I've been talking about in the past, the passports have been flying out the door, so much so that the 10.5s are gone and there is only the 12-footers left. Also, as I've said in the last couple of episodes, check out the new Passport R. It's a nice little compromise between the original Passport. There's not really a Lynx because it's a bit heavier than that, but it's a little bit tougher. So that you want to go and check this out, like between the Lynx, the Passport R, the Passport 12, and the Outback, there's a whole range of kayaks. There's going to be something there to suit you. Anyway, check it out at hunterwatersports.com.au.
All right. So coming in second place, we have a Brim Fishing Project regular. He dropped 3 fish on the Saturday for 1.86 kilos. Backed it up on Sunday with a big bag of 2.510, giving him a total of 4.370 kilos. And second place, I'd like to welcome back to the Brim Fishing Project, Alex Griesdorf. Welcome back, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Mate, you've had a really good record this year. We've spoken a lot.
Yeah, mate, the kayaks have been pretty good this year. I haven't had a worse than a third place result all year. I pretty much had 2 events that I won one event. The second event I should have won.
Mm-hmm.
And then, got third and a second. So
yeah,
can't complain about my kayak fishing skills this year. So, yeah, I've got a bit lucky, but I've also been around the right sort of areas each time as well, which has been good. Makes you think that you're doing the right thing.
Exactly. And look, in this one, it looks like you got biggest bag for the comp at 2.5 kilos, which is pretty good out of the Swan.
Mate, that's a ripping bag out of the Swan. I've only really betted that maybe once, thinking so far fishing the Swan. So I got one bag a few years back, which was 2.98 or just under 3 kilos. So that was on day 2 of an event as well, funnily enough.
Well, there you go.
Not very often it happens that way, but when they bite, Swan, when the fish are on, there's some big fish there. It's a pretty good fishery in that way.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, mate. So look, rather than running through your pre-fish, I'm going to ask another question. So leading into Comp Day on Saturday, what did you sort of prepare for? Like what sort of structure and stuff are you headed for and how did it play out?
Well, I mean, we had the boat comp there about 3 weeks before it or 4 weeks before it, before the kayak grand final.
Yeah.
I had a bit of a clue in the boat comp, what they were doing, where they were sitting. I made some pretty rookie mistakes in the boat comp and lost some good fish, which cost us. I mean, no real fault, but I just missed them or I didn't hook them properly, which would have had us right up there in the boat comp. But I sort of keyed in a lot more on where they were sitting and schools of fish where they were sitting. So I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do in the kayak, more so waiting for the tides and waiting for the conditions to be on their prime, to be in the best areas. And day 1, I kind of missed it a little bit. When I got to the area that I wanted to fish, I got one good one, but there was a few other guys around the area that managed a couple of other fish sort of around that same time. And I wasn't really on the really good part. It's a little bit of a mistake on my end there. I had some good bites on Saturday, but I didn't nail them. And then on I was around the mark. I knew that size bag would be competitive on the Swan, but without dominating. But it wasn't fishing that great. It was still a bit funny. Like there was a lot of banks that are good banks. It just had nothing on it. Yeah, I mean, I stupidly wasted about a half hour of my morning fishing a bank that in before the boat comp, I smacked them on it. Like smacked them as good as I did on the Sunday. But yeah, there's just nothing there. It's just barren. So silly mistake to have made. But hey, if I pulled up there and got 3 good fish, it wouldn't be silly, would it?
That's right. That's right.
And that's fishing.
That is fishing. How'd you get them? Like, were they on plastics or were they on hard bodies or musses or what were you throwing?
I caught my fish all weekend. Basically, they fell to a Z-Man. Everything I weighed in fell to a Z-Man Slim Sim in either a blood oil or a blood worm color. Saturday, I made a bit of a mistake on Saturday. It's probably the big key I changed on my Sunday fishing. I went a bit heavier on Saturday because there was not a lot of wind, but I was trying to get further away from the kayak just to have more ground to cover and that sort of thing. And I caught my fish on Saturday doing that. Sunday, the fish were a little bit more tentative. They weren't really, the area had been flogged by a few anglers, so it wasn't like I was the only one fishing the area. And I ended up on Sunday, I went, it was in the right area, which I knew was the area. You know, it was only a couple 100 meter stretch of area, but the wind had just come up, the tide had just come in, and yeah, I was throwing a lighter jig head, and they just seemed to react to the lighter jig head a lot better. There was guys around me throwing hard bodies, and they couldn't get them to bite it. There was guys throwing other stuff, and they were catching a few fish here and there. And I put on a clinic for about 40 minutes or so. I pulled my whole bag And I probably got 8 to 10 other legals off of a stretch of about maybe 50 meters, 100 meters. I probably got 8 to 10 other legals that would have been between 32 fork and 27 fork in that period of time, right amongst other anglers like floating around me. So they definitely were clued in to that lighter jig head. The heavier jig head wasn't getting the bites. So I'm glad I made that change. And they just, I think that what they were feeding on was mussels. They were feeding in the sand, and they're digging up pippies or doing something. But I could feel with my rolling it through them, I could feel like I was hitting them, but they weren't actually biting it. They were just, I was like hitting into them. When I went to the lighter jig head, yeah, definitely 100%, I was running into them. And when I went into the lighter jig head and I started just moving it really slow, it's almost like I'm just dragging it in front of their noses. And I think it was just a bit of a reaction bite. They just smacked it. And it literally, they just stopped it. Like you didn't feel the normal tick in your line. It was just like stop, and then they take off. I'm not complaining. It was really fun, but especially in the kayak, yeah. And I mean, I'm fishing in less than 0.8 of a meter of water, so I was fishing right up shallow, which made it fun. I mean, the good thing is there's no trees or anything that can break you off on it. It's just all sand. So yeah, that's what did it pretty much. On day one, I probably caught 15 legals. Day two, I would have probably caught 20. It was a very slow start to the day. I only got my first fish at about, 9:30, sort of 10 o'clock in the morning. So it was pretty quiet. So, but look, yeah, bream fishing has got a timing aspect of it with the conditions. And if you know they're there and the timing's right, give yourself the best opportunity for the fish.
Yeah, yeah. I'm assuming that just the slower sink rate was the key, just the slower movement all around maybe.
Yeah, I think it was. And the lighter jig head doesn't stir up the bottom as much. So like when you throw a heavier jig head, it tends to make plumes of sand as it's dragging through the sand. I don't know. But to be fair, I was throwing the light jig head and got the bite. I think it was light jig head. If I threw a bit heavier jig head in there, I may have got those bites as well. I'm not 100% sure. They were eating it, so I just kept throwing that back at them. Pretty much. That was kind of the thing. As soon as I tried other stuff, I threw a mussel in there. I threw a crankbait in there. I didn't even get a touch. So they definitely were keen on that one sort of style bait.
Yeah, definitely. What was the key jig head weight?
Day one, I fished a 12 jig head, like a 112. Day two, I was down to a 116.
So not a massive difference.
No, not a huge difference. Just a little bit lighter. That was all.
Did you run any scent for the day?
Yeah, I ran a mix, just a sort of a mix of what I got. It's a bit of guzzle goop from years back and a bit of procure on it as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. And I guess the only other thing that's probably worth asking is what sort of leaders were you running?
I pretty much ran a 4-pound leader all weekend. I didn't go any heavier. I didn't go any lighter. Just ran a really long 4-pound leader pretty much all day, both days.
Right. I mean, when you look at your bags, like the 1.8, it's not a bad bag. I can't remember whether you said, did you miss any big ones on the Saturday?
I definitely missed some fish on Saturday. Whether they were really big fish, I wouldn't say I had one on for 5 minutes and then lost it at the boat, being a kegger or something like that. The ones I lost, I didn't actually see. I had some really good bites that they didn't hook. And I did pull the hooks on one early. It felt like a really solid fish, but I didn't see it, so I couldn't say it was a big one. Probably was a bigger fish than what I weighed in, but without seeing it, I'm not going to, you're only guessing. So it wasn't too far off the mark. And I mean, to be fair, I was fishing really just to make sure I secured the AOI. That was my first plan for the weekend. And once I got that kilo fish in my bag, I was like, I might be able to run these boys down because they had a 600-gram lead on me on day one. So I thought, you get a kilo fish, you got another fish that's about 800. You get another kilo fish in there, come back with 2.8, you're a chance to run them down if they don't do well.
Yeah, that's right.
It's pretty hard to back up a big bag on day one. Day one to day two in the same spot.
That's right. I mean, Matt did extremely well, 2.38 on the Saturday and backed it up with over 2 kilos on the Sunday, like it's making it hard for everyone else.
Yeah, 100%. Matty's a really good fisherman on the bridge, and that's what he likes to do. That's his forte. So I knew Matty would get a good bag. I didn't think he'd get as big a bag as he got on day one, again on day two. I knew he'd come in with a solid bag. So I knew if I didn't have at least 2.5 to 2.8, I wasn't going to be a chance anyway. So paddling back, I just thought, we'll see where we end up, but probably enough to get me to second. That's all it is.
Yeah, which is pretty good going anyway. Now, I did hear you say before that you took out Angler of the Year. Is that correct?
I did, yeah. That's right.
Well done, mate. To be honest, I wasn't aware of that. That's a great effort.
No, that's it. Like I said, pretty good bag of results for the year. I mean, my worst finish was a third. I had first and 2 seconds and a third. So
I was going to say,
you can't really, not really going to do much better than that, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. All right, well we'll come back to that in a minute. For second place, mate, what did you get to take home?
What do I get? I got a prize bag. I got a swag from Getaway Outdoors over here. I got some cash, and I got a Shimano fishing reel as well, which was nice.
How good is that? You got a swag?
Yeah, I got a swag.
That's hectic. Very good.
Yeah. So Getaway Kelmscott over here, they're an outdoor camping and fishing store. Instead of just handing out fishing rods that you might not want or you might not use, they give out camping gear and stuff like that as well. So, funnily enough, I actually only bought a swag about a year ago. So,
fair enough.
Definitely don't need it. I've got another one now, but yeah, it would have been handy about a year ago because I just bought one.
That's right. But that's right. You got one for you, one for a friend. It's all good.
That's it. Exactly. So, yeah, no, not complaining. It's a good mix of prizes. And, yeah, I mean, it was a cracking weekend, really. Can't complain.
Perfect.
Besides injuring myself over the weekend, that's about it.
Tell us about that.
I've done my elbow, I think, lifting my kayak off my car on Sunday when I got home.
No good.
I've been pretty much winged all week so far. So it's a good thing I've not had to fly to Sydney this week because I don't think I would be able to fish.
Yeah, right. Right, that's right. You're fishing next weekend, which this will be up.
Yeah.
It'll be all over by then. And then when have you got, and then December, the second week or first weekend in December.
Yeah, we got a few weeks after. We got our boat grand final.
Perfect. In terms of Angler of the Year, was there a prize for that?
Yeah, Steve from Duff Rods. He puts up a Angler of the Year prize for us for our events over here.
Yeah, awesome.
It's really nice of him. Yeah, I'm lucky enough to take home a Duff Rod.
Very nice. Nice gear.
Yeah. I've already got about 6 of them or 7 of them. So another one to my quiver, put it that way.
Yeah, how good's that? Always love new rods.
Yeah, no, that's it, definitely. So
definitely. All right, mate. Well, one more thing before we head off. As usual, mate, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just the normal guys that look after me and my fishing and stuff, mate. Their hands are pretty big for that. Buying electronics and that. I've been running the new Eagle sounder on my kayak all year, which is a great little unit.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've got that, and the guys TT always look after me with baits and stuff like that. So it's generally always been a handy thing. Yeah,
fair enough. All right, mate. We're going to leave it there, mate. Congratulations. I will see you next week in Camden Haven, and also good luck in the boat grand final.
Yeah, easy as, mate. No problem at all. We'll catch you then.
All right, very good. Thanks, Alex.
See you, buddy.
All right, so I'm going to do something just a little bit different for you. I'm going to paint a bit of a picture for you, hopefully. So have you ever been driving down the road and you've seen a waterway or a bridge or something, you've gone and looked at that and gone, gee, I wouldn't mind having a quick flick there? Have you ever had to jump on a plane and fly interstate or maybe even overseas and thought, gee, I wouldn't mind taking a rod with me, but the thought of taking a full rod or a half rod is just out of the question? Or is there maybe a local waterway that you drive past every day that you just wish you could jump out and have a bit of a flick on your way home? Anyway, I've got a bit of a solution for you, and that comes through the guys at Jabbers Australia. So one of the things these guys do is they have a whole range of high quality 5-piece travel rods. Now, I've been using these for some time, and I'm going to talk to you just about the ones that I've used particularly, and then just give you an overview of the range. But the one I've been using for myself is the Slack Driver. So what this is, a 5-piece, 8'6" rod, cast from 7 to 40 grams. So I've been casting the Crossfire 195s, which I think are a little bit bigger than that. And it's rated for line class PE.A to 2.0. So anyway, I've been using this for quite some time. I've caught a number of large flathead. I haven't caught a cracker on it yet, but I've definitely caught some large flathead. And I even took it when we went up with for Hedgie's birthday bash and caught, I think it was a long-tailed tuna. I can't remember. Anyway, it was definitely a stretch, but the rod handled it and it was a lot of fun. It was really cool throwing a big stick bait on that. So this is what I'm thinking is, maybe you've got room in the back of your car to just throw pretty much a backpack with a couple of things in it, including a rod, which comes out. So I took this up to Queensland rigged up. So it was in the little travel case that it comes in with the reel hanging out the side of it. So the reel it's got a double zip on it. You can kind of zip it around so the reel can stay on the rod, and the line was all rigged up. It's funny, when I got on the boat, I said to the guide, I bought a rod with me today. And he's like, where is it? It's in the bag. Anyway, so when it was time to have a play with it, I just got it out. I joined the rods together. Now they've got something that I haven't seen before. Very, very simple innovation, but very helpful. When you join the rods, have a tiny little white dot on them. So you can just join the rod up and get the dots in line, and you don't have to look down the rod and hope that all your runners are in line. So just a nice little thing there they do at Jabbers. Anyway, I used it today actually. I caught myself like a 65 or 70 centimeter flathead. It was very cool. Now, if a travel rod is something you're looking at, there's a bunch of rods there. You've got things like the Jabbers Diabolus, the Urban Beats Timber Launcher, the Jabbers Snake Charmer, the Urban Beats Def Flicker, all these rods. Definitely go and check them out. This is quality gear. It's not cheap stuff, but it's very, very good. So you can check those out at Jabbers Australia. And the one last thing before I move off, they do have a whole heap of other stuff. My favorite thing that I've used from there, aside from the rod, would be a little pixie pliers. So they have a split ring plier, which is great for us brim guys. It's called the Jabbers something or other pixie pliers. Jump on there. There's going to be a discount code coming soon. It should be in the show notes by the time this goes to air. jabbersaustralia.com.au. All right. So coming in first place, we have an angler dropping 3 fish for 2.38 kilos, backing it up on the Sunday with 3 fish for 2.14, giving a total of 4.52 kilos. The only angler to drop 2 T kilo plus bags, I have Matt DeBoer. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, again, welcome back as the Western Australian kayak champion. How good is that?
Yeah, it's a pretty good feeling.
It is.
Especially going into something that I don't obviously do much.
Yeah, right. And I think you said it wasn't probably on your list of things that you thought you might win. Everyone tries to win, but it wasn't really on your game plan, I guess.
No, I just thought because I qualified from the Moore River round that I'd, give the Swan round a go. And yeah, it worked out pretty well.
It really did.
Can't come away with the win, so it worked.
100%. All right. So, mate, let's get into it. So in terms of fishing leading up to the event, you didn't get a pre-fish, but you did fish the boat comp a couple of weeks ago before that. So do you want to tell us about how that affected your game plan for comp day?
Yeah, well, in the boat comp, one of my mates, he was fishing the comp, and Garrett Road Bridge, where I stayed for the both days, there wasn't a far paddle, and I knew that in the boat round he had caught a lot of fish there, and they were good fish too. And being new to kayaks, I'm pretty lazy as well. I didn't really want to paddle that far. I'd rather go somewhere where I know that's got fish and spend as much time as I can.
Yeah.
And just, even if I had to wait now from the come on, at least I haven't paddled an hour away, because then it'll take me an hour to get back. At least if I'm 10 minutes off, or not even that, like a 5-minute paddle, at least I got more time to bounce around that bridge and find where the fish are, because on the bridges, there's always going to be fish there.
Yeah.
Even if you sounder and you can't see the fish on your sounder, there's generally going to be fish hiding somewhere. So it's just a matter of just sitting there and working out where they were.
Right. So then I take it from that. So if we move into Saturday, so you basically headed straight for the bridge?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us how it went.
Pretty good. I had my bag and about 3 casts.
Nice. That is pretty good.
So by the time Carl and Dave in the boat went past that do the media and that, I think, they were already watching me like pull fish in, and I could see Carl ages away like filming me on his phone. And then I looked at my watch and it must have only went about 10 minutes by, and I already had a bag.
Nice.
And then it was just a matter of upgrading then. So I went to certain different pylons and worked out, I'd pull fish that would be just legal to 30 centimetres.
Sure.
Then I'd go to a deeper one, and then a few of them I was getting off there were bigger. So I'd sit on the pylons where I was getting the bigger ones from. And then, they'd go off the bite a bit. But because I was sitting there for so long, I was trying to work out a pattern when they'd bite.
Mm-hmm.
And when I worked out a pattern, I knew I could leave the bridge, paddle 5 minutes, come back, let it refresh, and usually start getting fish.
And then go again. And what were you using to target them?
I was using the little muss that Dowley's made, Neil Swan. It's probably pretty dangerous on the brim.
Yeah, right. What colour are you liking?
The water was a bit dirtier, so I was using the black and gold.
Okay.
But then I think, I lost about 25 to fish and whatnot. So I had to start scabbing some there after day one.
Yeah, right.
And then, once I ran out, I just had to use any colour, really.
Yeah.
I ended up using the cockle colour. And
Wow. So tell us about the fish. Like, how many fish did you get on the Saturday? And was there any big ones you went, oh, that was a really good one, I needed that, and you lost?
Yeah, there was a lot of good ones that I couldn't stop.
Yeah, right.
Especially being in a kayak too, because I've never really fought fish like that, and I think that's why I lost a lot more.
Sure.
Because when I was sitting under the bridge, I was sitting against the current, so when I'd be fighting a fish would be going one way, kayak would be going the other way.
Yeah.
And then even when you're trying to net it, you don't have much room.
Yep. Okay, so what kayak are you in?
One of the Hobie, can't remember which one it was, but it was good because I hired it for $100 off Michelle.
Nice.
To get away outdoors. So I think, I can't remember the ones that she puts up for hire, but done the job.
Yes. I'm assuming it's probably an Outback.
Yeah, I think it is the Outback, yeah.
And the PAs are the real big ones, and any of the other ones are probably a bit smaller and not ideal.
Yeah.
All right. So if you got done a few times, what sort of lines and leaders were you running?
I was just running 4 pound. I was going to run a little bit stronger, but I didn't want that playing in the back of my mind if I wasn't getting bites after 5 minutes. So I was just risking it using the 4 pound.
Right. Okay. In terms of patterns, like you said, they were on the slightly deeper pylons. Were you finding them like at the front of the pylon, the back, or the middle, or was there any pattern to where they were on the pylon?
So I'd kind of line myself up with like one set of pylons in front of me, and I'll be sitting pretty much in the current, and I'd throw it right up to the end of the last pylon and pretty much let the muscle hit the bottom and let the current bring it back.
Sure.
And they were pretty much, I think they were sitting in, because when the muscle was going along the bottom, because what I'd do is I'd just pretty much dead stick, I'd let the current move the muscle along the bottom.
Yeah.
I think they must have been sitting in between the poles, and that's when they would come out and grab it.
Yeah, right. Okay. And on those pylons, what sort of water depth are we talking? Is it a couple of meters, or are they really deep? Or
I think, about 2.5 meters.
Okay.
Wasn't too deep. Might have been 3, but it's not really that deep.
Yeah. Okay. And in your bag, you got 2.38. Was there any standout fish, or are they all sort of 800 grammers, or how'd that look?
They're all about the same, really. Like, they're all, on day one, I think they're all around the 38 centimetre mark, 38.5 centimetre mark.
Yeah.
And it was getting a little bit annoying because I kept getting them around that size, and I was getting sick of putting my hand in the live well pulling them out. So I thought, even though I was still catching them, I thought, if this is big, it better be big, because I really don't want to pull the same size out again.
Exactly. Well, how were you culling them? You just cull them by eye, or you have a balance beam, or?
Yeah, I'll just pull them out and put them on the ruler and hope for the best.
Yeah, okay.
And I had one cull tag too, so that wasn't. So I was trying to chase the fish around the live well.
Yep.
I was trying to feel for biggest one in there. So I'd kind of pick one up and it'd be like, no, that's not really that big.
Yeah.
Grabbed another one. The one I'm trying to grab's just swimming around in circles.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty difficult trying to upgrade.
Yeah, that's old school. That's how we used to do it in the start. But then, we moved into cull tags and scales and all that sort of stuff that makes that stuff a little bit easier.
Oh, way easier.
Way easier. Well, cull tags are, on some level, I don't like using them, but they do make it easier.
Half time it can be a bit of a pain in the arse trying to put them in their mouths. I'd rather just get them and just throw them straight in the well and deal with it afterwards.
Yeah. Well, it worked for you on the day.
Yeah.
So to sum up, so you got fish early. It sounds like you got a bunch of fish throughout the day, 4-pound leader and the little muss tied into the
Structure. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hook up and hope for the best.
Yeah, if you didn't get it close, you weren't getting bites. So they were really sitting tight.
Yeah. And throughout the first day, did you have any lulls of time where you just didn't get them?
Yeah. Would have been a few times where you might have got one in 1 hour, but that's kind of when the wind died off. And that after a while, I found that if I waited for a gust of wind, just a bit of gust of wind would come, that's when I'd cast and you'd hook a fish straight away.
Really?
And then if you'd lose that fish, you wouldn't actually get another bite till another gust of wind would come. So what I'll do is if I lost a fish, I'll just go for a paddle around a couple of the pylons, just let it refresh, wait for another gust to come.
Yep.
Because if I'd lose that fish, I'd cast again and I actually wouldn't get a touch from anything.
Okay. Interesting. So a few things going on there.
Yeah.
All right. So you ended up with, like we said, 2.38, which looks like it had you in second place overnight?
Yeah, second, yep.
All right. Tell us about Saturday night and going into Sunday. You obviously just having a crack at it, and then you find yourself leading come second on day one.
Yeah. I think if I was leading at day one, it'd be a little bit more nerve-wracking because it's like, I've got to try to back it up. But even being second, it was still pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
So it's like, you kind of just want to get on the water and paddle as fast as you can to your spot.
Yeah, 100%.
But to be honest, I actually went in pretty confident on day two. I wasn't too nervous. I woke up feeling pretty good. It was just the night before. I was like, hope it goes well.
Fair enough. All right, tell us about Sunday, mate. You jump in the kayak, you pedal as fast as you can, and what happens?
Get back to my same spot, and within about 2 or 3 casts, Alex was behind me.
Right.
And I pretty much hooked up straight away, got smoked by something, and I was yelling and screaming. And then must have been a couple casts after that, got my first legal. And then I think I had my bag again. I think it only took me about 15 minutes this time.
Yeah, right.
But the fish I got first, they weren't as big, so it was a long day of upgrading.
Yeah.
So
did you find sort of similar patterns? Like it was...
Yeah, same as Saturday.
Same as Saturday. So the wind played into it as well?
Yeah. Yeah, the wind played a part, and where you were sitting as well, they were still tight again on structure.
Mm.
And yeah, just did the same thing as Saturday, and it just worked out well. In the back of my mind, I thought, if it doesn't fish as good as yesterday, I might move. But I thought, well, if I move, it's a big risk losing this spot where I know one might just come on the bite again.
Yeah.
I was glad I just kept my little pocket for the remainder of the day.
And in that bag that you got on second day, so you ended up with 2.14, so let's say 3,700 fish. Were they all about the same, or did you have a standout in there?
I think, no, they were nearly about the same. I think the biggest was about 37, 38, and then the smallest was about 35.
Okay.
So
similar.
Bit similar, yeah.
And in terms of the bridge, did you have to sort of compete to keep your spot? Do you have other anglers with you?
Yeah, there was a few that went there, but it was actually pretty good. They kind of just left me alone in my spot.
Yeah, okay.
Which is, pretty good. The competitors over here kind of respect you when you go to your spots.
Yeah, you go to your spots, and also you're in a good position in the comp. That's definitely helpful. All right. I actually think, well, given that's pretty much a rinse and repeat of day one, was there anything else to do with the fishing? Like it was pretty much the same, cast it in tight, let it drift back on the current, and wait for the brim to come out and get them?
Yeah. I think the only thing that was different from day one was I got some real late upgrades at around 1 o'clock. And I got these off the real shallow poles, and that would have only been about a metre of water.
Mm.
So, and a lot of other people caught a lot of fish day one late off those shallow poles.
Okay.
So, but day two, they weren't even on there on the shallow parts all day. But it's pretty funny because a lot of people at the end of it were sitting at the shallow bits hoping for what happened day one.
Yeah.
That was really the only thing that was different.
Yeah. All right. I reckon that's a pretty good rundown. The only thing to really cover is, so you had a 4 pound leader. What sort of run? You said 4 pound leader?
Yeah.
What sort of rods and reels and stuff are you running for the comp?
I've just run all Shimano stuff. So Shimano Vanfords and Zodiaces.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
So the Zodiacs are real good on the bridges because they have a lot of power in them. And you can kind of just reef them out with it.
Yeah.
And then, run 6 pound Shimano Kariki braid.
Mm-hmm.
That's, real good stuff.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right, mate. So for coming first in the Kayak Grand Final, what did you get to take home?
I got to take home $1,000 cash and a Lowrance Elite FS7 sounder.
That's right.
Pretty good. It's like a $2,200 payday, pretty much.
That's it. And you're saying the sounder is going to fit very nicely on your boat soon?
Yeah, well, when I got the boat, I had a little crappy one. But now I've actually got side scan, down scan, buddy maps, so I don't have to hit anything now.
How good is that?
Yeah.
Very good. All right, mate. That's a great story. One last thing before we head off. Is there anyone or any company you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, I probably want to say massive thanks to Michelle for letting us hire the kayaks. Pretty good service, $100 to hire a Hobie, considering how much they cost, and you get it for the day. She brings it there.
Yeah.
And you pretty much hop in it, use it, and give it back.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, massive thanks to probably Carl at the end of day one. He let me go through his tackle box and grab another. I probably took about 12 mussels off him, and by the end of the day two, I think there was only 2 left.
Right.
And probably, all the sponsors for the comps, the guys that run it, they do a pretty good job of it. And they make it enjoyable, makes you want to do it every year.
Definitely. So I take it you're going to give the kayaks a bit of a run next year as well?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I reckon I'll give them a run. A lot of people keep saying, "Oh, you're going to have to buy one now." And I think if I win another one, I'll buy one.
Mm-hmm.
But hiring one for $100 is pretty good.
Definitely. And
that's cheaper.
That comes from Getaway Outdoors, doesn't it?
Getaway Outdoors, Kelmscott, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right, mate. That is a great story. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations, and hopefully we get to talk to you again after the boat grand final.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Be great.
Very good, mate. All right, you have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
All right. So there it is, everybody. I'm going to wrap this one up rather quickly. Great little round there, or grand final there with Matt coming over the top, Alex in second, and Travis in third place. How good is that? Look, I hope you're enjoying the new content coming out of the monthly report with Brett Geddes. If you're interested in that and want to actually see it, jump over to YouTube and have a look. I'll see if I can put a link in the show notes. Anyway, I'm going to leave it for there. If you've got any questions or comments, shoot me a message. Send it on Facebook. And thanks for listening. And I'll talk to you on Tuesday on the Brim Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired, and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.